Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review No One Lives. Everyone runs, everyone hides, no one lives.
From the director who brought us Midnight Meat Train, Ryûhei Kitamura, starring Luke Evans, Adelaide Clemens, Derek Magyar, and Lee Tergesen, No One Lives is about a gang of bandits who just rob people. Unfortunately, this time they have robbed the wrong person. They soon discover that in that person's trunk is a woman that's been missing and potentially tortured for years. And this mystery kidnapper wants his girl back. Now these gangsters need to fight for their survival. This movie was actually recommended by our top D over on Patreon, Deke. The first request of 2018 is a highly requested one that we see in the comments quite a bit, and we just never ended up getting to. And this was a really interesting film. Now there is gonna be minor spoilers. I mean, even the synopsis is kind of spoilery, but it's important to how the story goes. But thank you, Deke. Let's get into the likes.
So I'm kicking it off right away with the story. Now, yes, this is spoilery, but the film reveals who the killer is within the first 10 minutes. And the killer is a guy who got his stuff stolen by these bandits. Now, you think this is going to be this innocent guy seeking revenge for the loss of his things, but then it just goes 180 and you have one of the craziest psychopaths on your hand. And I loved how they revealed this. They built it up in under 10 minutes, and that's very impressive.
And our killer, who remains nameless on IMDb, he's just Driver, but this is Luke Evans' character. He is just a badass through and through, both from the way that he absolutely murders people in this movie to just like the way he delivers his lines. He has like this deadpan expression and he has some really funny one-liners, which is pretty cool. He makes some pretty cool traps to like capture the bad guys, and he's just kind of like toying with his victims, and it's great.
I would like to note that because we're watching this in 2018, it's hilarious to see him in this film, knowing that he is Gaston from the Beauty and the Beast live action.
He looks kind of like Johnny Depp mixed with like Orlando Bloom, kind of.
The pirate's child.
Luke Evans, the pirate's child. Another badass in this movie is actually Emma, the one who got kidnapped and now is trying to tell these robbers, you have a serial killer you need to deal with. And I'm more afraid of him than I am of you. And while she doesn't really kick ass throughout the movie, it's more just like her demeanor and how brave she is while standing up to people that are holding guns to her face. It's really cool.
So this is pretty interesting because I didn't realize this was a WWE studio film. It's one of those ones that flew under the radar. Like they only have about 15 and most of them are just like shoot 'em ups and like animated ones. I mean, we got our mild horrors and See No Evil, but like the gore in this one was very good, and considering that majority of their films are not based around practical effects and showing graphic content, I was very impressed with what they did in this film.
There are a couple scenes that like caught me off guard, and there's one scene specifically that just both me and John were like, holy fuck, I can't believe they just did that. And it was great. On a related note, it's nice to see a Funkasaurus in the film, Brodus Clay. The pacing of this movie is excellent as well. Like, I really enjoyed how fast-paced it is. Because we learn who the killer's going to be very quickly, the rest of the movie is just like a bunch of people in a house almost waiting to die, it seems. With Luke Evans just either setting traps, capturing people, killing people, and just people trying to get away from him and they just can't. And like every other horror movie, they don't stay as a group, so you have one character doing this, two characters going and doing this, so it switches up where the action takes place and puts them in different environments where you have like unique situations that can happen and where you find some unique kills as well.
I really enjoyed the cinematography in this film. I thought it was beautifully shot, and I loved how they executed a lot of the reveal of our killer because he was perfectly lit to just make him seem so ominous and creepy.
And shout out to the babes. America Olivo was absolutely dynamite. Not only did she kick ass, but she also had a cool shower scene. Now, what didn't we like? The biggest thing people might have an issue with is the acting. The acting is not strong overall, I think. It seems very stiff. People seem to be reading lines almost. Even Luke Evans, like, well, I did like his delivery, because it suited his character, it's still very robotic. Like, once you can get over that, it's a much better film, but I know that people would have a problem with it.
I did find it odd with the development of Emma's character because throughout the majority of the film, you don't actually know the full connection to her and the killer. She's trying to escape, but not trying hard enough.
My best hope of escape is while he's killing the whole bunch of you.
It's really weird because they're trying to establish this bond that the two of them share, but they don't actually fully explain what the bond actually is.
And it leads me to believe that there's probably a few deleted scenes, at least. They show like 2 flashbacks of the same scene, and I'm almost certain they would have had other ones to kind of like tie up some of the loose ends, because Emma makes some really questionable decisions, especially when we get further into the film, and there's not quite the reasoning for it.
This is a nitpicky dislike, but as it is a WWE studio film, and I love wrestlers, I was disappointed that Brodus Clay was not in this film for as much as he was supposed to be in it. If you are watching this because it is a WWE film, you want to watch the wrestlers. Like, there is no reason that the entire gang could have been compiled with wrestlers.
This wasn't too much of an issue, but Flynn, the main like antagonist, he's kind of a dick, and you're supposed to hate him, but I think I hated him more than I was supposed to. He is very aggressive, he's obnoxious, and you want him to die so bad. And unfortunately, because he's so overly aggressive, it's irritating as a viewer to just watch him, because you're just waiting for him to die, and you wish it would happen in every single scene, so you don't have to see him in the next one. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. No One Lives was actually a really enjoyable film. I did not know what to expect going in, and I was pleasantly surprised. We had a unique take on a slasher thriller. We had lots of gore. There's literal bags of blood. We had a badass killer, and it's just a really fun movie, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it. While I did have small gripes with some of the characters, it's really not that big of a deal in comparison to everything else. So I'm gonna give this 4 suave innkeepers out of 5.
Please don't tell me you're here for direction. I got 15 rooms, all with your name on it.
Just one, thanks.
You solo?
I had a really good time watching this film, and I think a lot of people will also enjoy it. The cinematography was great, and you get a psychopathic killer who just looks menacing and naturally you would fear, and he has a lot of cool kills. However, I don't necessarily agree with how the characters developed because they didn't give you the exposition that you were hoping for, but they did make up for a great story with an interesting twist right away, with a lot of OMG moments. So for this film, it's definitely one that flew under the radar, and I think a lot of people should go check this out. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 4 man buns out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, there are links in the description where you can find it. And if you want the opportunity to recommend a movie for us to review, check out our Patreon. Links are in the description. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.